The SABC News is known for bringing every nook and cranny of this country. So let's pop you over to Limpopo. That's where my colleague Lutendo Bobodi is standing by with yet another great figure who's been telling the SABC News story over the decades.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It feels great to be part of this gigantic history. And of course, you know, I was reading this morning that SABC, by the late 60s, early 70s, we already had about 100 journalists across the province, across the country, and you just want to go back down memory lane and see how things were done. Then, of course, today, all provinces have, you know, their own dynamics, their own history, they have their own challenges, and we know we've been here, we've been doing this now, and we were there. We've been in all corners of the province and looking at stories and traversing the whole province. Looking at stories here. But what do I know? I'm just a greenhorn. I've only been here just 2 decades. I'm only a novice. That's why I just invited Esther Moloto, who has been here. She's seen it all. She's seen the SABC morphing into all different shapes and sizes, editorially speaking. She joins me this morning. Thank you so much, Miss Moloto. It's good to see you. When I came here joining the SABC in Limpopo from Auckland Park, you were here. You were our editor, and I only worked with you for just, I think, a year. So I don't know much about you. Can you just take me through your journey at the SABC?
Good morning, Lutendo, and good morning, viewers. I joined the SABC News Department in Polokwane in 1988. Prior to that, I was at Auckland Park in the advertising department. So when I arrived here, things were difficult at that time. Let me start by saying when you get into the building, there were 2 lifts. There's still 2 even now. One was very slow, the other one was very fast. Yeah. The slowest one was for the black people, and the fastest one for the white colleagues. Yeah. That was the SABC at that time. But when we arrived there in the news department, we used to use what we call telefax. So Johannesburg will have to send us news item through what they call telefax, something like a typewriter. And then we're also using typewriters to translate those difficult Afrikaans news items into different languages. And we are just fortunate because most of us, we schooled where Afrikaans was dominant. Yeah. So as a result, we'll have to get together, the 3 languages, which was Sepedi, Venda, and Zonga, and discuss how are we going to put this news item in the way that our listeners would understand it better. And fortunately, there were also Africans speaking in the news department. We used to consult with them. And the most fortunate thing, I was the first black woman in the news department here in Polokwane. In Polokwane. Yeah. It was so interesting. And, I got help. I was not discriminated against only by the white group, but our fellow colleagues, black colleagues, we worked together. We were able to advise each other. And at that time, when you have to be here in the office at 5 o'clock, we used to leave home, which was Leboa home at that time, 3:30. You can imagine. 3:30, we are here in the newsroom, and then we used to do current affairs and news together. The one who is doing will be 2 presenters at a time. The other one will do current affairs, and the other one will present news bulletins. All these items, whether it's current affairs or news, they were almost 90% of them, they were in Afrikaans. So that was the time.
Okay. You're just a treasure trove, and I wish I could just listen to you the whole day. But let's just talk about the challenges. In terms of going out there and gather stories, what were the challenges? What were the main challenges?
The main challenges was that, Limpopo, let me say at that time, it was Northern Province. It's vast. So you had to go out to rural areas alone, driving through farms. It was so scary because at that time people were being killed, farmers were harassing people. So you have to drive a long distance alone being a woman. And we used to carry a very big recording machine. We call it Nagra. Okay. And then when you arrive there, if the news was something about government, if it's black people, it was fine. But if it's white, it was so scary. To approach them, to ask for an interview, it was another challenge. But the other thing is that when journalists were not enough in the office, is that the African speaking person, which will be a white person, will accompany you. But if we are alone, it was quite difficult to ask farmers, especially white people, somewhere there, you had to interview them. Some of them were reluctant to speak in English. They have to speak in Afrikaans. They don't give you they were not as friendly as you would expect.
And I want to talk to you about your time as a regional editor, but before that, can you just give us your main highlight, the story you did that you say, this was my main highlight as a journalist then?
At that time, there were about a few of them.
Yeah.
And when they started with the campaigns, it was for the first time I met Nelson Mandela. There was a rally here in Polokwane, and as a gentleman, we know him, how he was. Yeah. He greeted us all. I was so excited. And there were a lot of people. It was for the first time we see a lot of people gathering together, coming to listen to a politician who used to be called a terrorist. That was very interesting. And then when we came back here, we have to edit the stories. It was the highlight of my profession. Okay.
First female regional editor. I must say, I was fortunate to work under you. Can you talk to us about your time as a regional editor here?
When I started, it was very difficult because the newsroom in Polokwane is very big. It accommodates 5 languages. So you could imagine there were also African-speaking people in the newsroom. To control those, as you know, they feel that they are inferior. They used to feel that they are inferior to us. So it was quite difficult to manage them in the first place. And because of the size of the office, it has some challenges where you have to have an idea of all the languages that are spoken here. Although I do have, but sometimes you find that you have to understand exactly what these people are saying. And the other thing was that
I think we can just leave it a bit, but I think let's just talk. I'm running out of time. Let's just talk about the current generation. We are trying to keep the fire burning amid a lot of challenges across the country. What kind of encouraging words can you give us?
Let's stick to our languages, because I've realized that our young journalists, upcoming journalists, when they have to report in their own languages, it becomes a problem. Because I don't blame them. They've attended multiracial schools. But on the other hand, they should learn their mother tongue. Because it's very important. We need to our heritage must be kept.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for making time. And thank you so much for your patience. Well, that was Esther Moloto, who was a journalist for SABC for many years. As I said, she's a treasure trove. She became the first female journalist in the province, and also becoming the first female regional editor in the province, talking to us about her story within the SABC. You know, she's seen it, as I said, seen it all. SABC morphing into different shapes and sizes, editorial wise. So this is what she's been telling us today. And SABC, 75 years. As I said, you wish you could just go back and listen to that first bulletin that was aired then in 1950.